not going to.
Okay, I'm waiting for a couple of our members, especially one of them has to introduce all these bills. All right, I'm going to call the Finance Committee to order for an exec session on a group of bills, mostly from Division One. So I will begin by recognizing Representative Leishman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I get too far into this, I just want to thank the members of Division One. We had something like 26 bills. Initially, we dispensed with some earlier. We have, I think, 17 today. The work done by the division members has been extremely good, helpful, and we've come to a lot of good decisions, I think. So, moving to the first bill, House Bill 46, establishing a committee to study the replacement of a bail commissioner with a court magistrate. Representative McGuire.
Thank you. Do we have this amendment 892H?
We do.
We do where?
Um,
There was 0 on my, oh, did she move it?
Mr. Hoffman's got one for you if you didn't get it.
Oh, okay.
It was moved by Representative McGuire and seconded by Representative Cambrels.
Right. Well, but what I see in front of me is 915H, not 892H. The other side.
9:15.
All right. So I guess the paper I'm looking at isn't right. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So this bill, the previous go-round removed the financial aspects. So this is now just a committee. So it seems reasonable to say ought to pass. I personally think we don't want to replace bail commissioners, but that's just my personal opinion, and why not let the committee do what it wants to do?
Is the amendment you're moving 9:15?
I guess so, yeah. On my paper, it said 892H, but what I have in my hand is 915H.
Maybe we'll um, ask to get an explanation.
The amendment approved by the division was 915H, and it just made grammatical changes to the bill.
Yeah, there was like a wrong comma or something like that.
Okay. So, did you move the amendment?
Yes, 915H.
And Representative Cambrils, do you want to second it?
Yes, I'll second it.
Further discussion, tell us what your amendment was attempting to do.
Yeah, this amendment, again, is just a grammatical correction, that's all. The bill itself in the previous committee amended out any financial aspects, and so therefore, this is just a committee. This is not a
And for some of the confusion, I think we have more than one amendment before us. One applies to another bill. The one on the top, it looks like is to 46. The second page is to Amendment 576, which we haven't come to yet. So we've got two amendments stapled together. The one we're going to look at is 0915. You'll see how simple that is. You also have House Bill 46 before you. It changes the one line. Further discussion on the amendment? Can we adopt by a show of hands? Without objection, all in favor? Hands down. Any opposed? We have adopted the amendment. Representative McGuire now moves.
Yes. I ought to pass with amendment.
Representative Cambril seconds.
Yes.
Further discussion on the bill? Representative Mooney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Division 1, for bringing this forward. I certainly respect the recommendation, but I do just want to explain, I'll be voting no. I have a constituent who's a bail commissioner. She and I have had many a discussion with regards to this conversion of bail commissioner to magistrate. I know also there was a bill retained in criminal justice this year, House Bill 318, to study this conversion as well. And then just in general, the idea of a committee on top of all the other work the legislature has to do with regards to this would be my reasons for voting no on ought to pass with amendment House Bill 46. Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, are you ready for the question? Excuse me, Representative Hewitt for a question.
Yes, I'm a little bit confused here. I've got two pieces of paper here. The first one, on the front one says Representative Leishman, Hillsborough 33, and it's an amendment to House Bill 46 FN.
That's the one we're talking about.
And the only thing about House Bill 46 is,
Isn't the same number that's over here.
I understand that, is it amends the bill by replacing the introductory paragraph with the following, which is the duties of the committee is to evaluate whether the bail commissioner should be replaced. And then on the next page, we have an amendment to House Bill 576 FN, apparently from Representative Sweeney. I don't know what's going on, except that in the beginning, when God made the little bills, we had a bill that had been introduced to abolish bail commissioners and replace them with something else. I think it was magistrates of some sort. The problem is that it didn't go over very well with the people out in the field, including Representative Mooney's constituent, and it also didn't go over very well with the anybody representing the district court system. The reason is that the provisions of the bill that was offered in the beginning created a little bit of a problem in that it just completely turned around how the criminal justice system works in terms of the arrest and prosecution of defendants. The way it is now is if somebody is arrested by the police, a bail commissioner is called, and the bail commissioner determines whether what kind of bail is to be imposed up until the time the person can be brought to court. What is important about this is that the kind of crimes that bail commissioners are called to are pretty generally misdemeanors, and the bail commissioner is supposed to get a fee, but the fee is to be paid by the defendant. There are a few little issues with that too. What the bill proposed was that the court in the first instance would be the one that would set the bail, but they would have magistrates to determine what the bail should be in advance. That didn't make a lot of sense because you would have to have a whole bunch of magistrates in order to collect all the stuff that's being done by bail commissioners, because there are, I don't know, 40, 50 bail commissioners in the state, and each district court has a bunch of them. In Superior Court, it's a lot different. In Superior Court, people that are accused with a crime are arrested usually by the sheriff or by a police department, and they're immediately brought to the county jail. And there, provisions are made for an amount of bail to be set by a court. That would be very difficult in these cases because most of the crimes arrests made by the police are either motor vehicle charges or simple assault and larceny and stuff like that, which don't involve felonies. The situation that would occur if you passed what I thought the bill was about is that the person would be arrested and brought somewhere, we're not sure where, and the court would eventually fix an amount of bail. And the people would be detained until that happened, and that could take some time in terms of days rather than minutes. The other part of this that's kind of contested, particularly on the part of bail commissioners, is that bail commissioners are entitled to a fee, and the amount of the fee is set by law, but they have to collect the fee from the defendant. Okay? And of course, if the defendant is at the county jail, and the fee is, I forget, it was $18 the last time I heard. It isn't great, but if the bail is set and the defendant doesn't have any money, under the law, they don't have the right to hold them until the court can convene. So in many cases, the bail commissioner doesn't get paid. House Bill, I have one I'm supposed to write a blurb on. has to do the same was the same thing, except that the magistrates are people who are paid by appropriations, and I don't know how they're gonna get paid, or how it's going to be determined what happens to the defendant. And the bill wasn't very clear about that, and that's why there's been this is. I don't know whether Representative Leishman filed this amendment 2023-0915H, but I know where House Bill 46 is, because most of us, everybody on Division 1 at least, has a copy of it in their binder. So I don't know what's going on, and I don't know. I wasn't aware that Representative Leishman had filed an amendment to House Bill 46, and so I'm confused, and I'm certainly not going to vote for the motion as it stands, because it turns the criminal justice system on its ear.
Can you tell me what is a magistrate?
Mr. Chairman, no, I can't. I have no, well, I know what a magistrate is in the broad sense. It's a person who makes decisions in legal matters. Magistrates aren't all.
Sounds like a judge.
Well, yeah, it does sound like a judge, except that I don't think magistrates get paid like a judge. So I don't know.
I'll bring it back to Representative Leishman. Thank you for your help.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason my name is on the amendment, it was a grammatical change that the LBA found, so that was a correction. Again, just for clarity, this is a study committee. It had no financial impact, and that's why we voted it out the way we did.
Thank you. Further discussion on House Bill 46 FN. Representative Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm hearing bipartisan resistance to an ought to pass as an amended motion. Is there an appetite to ITL this or retain this?
The vote before us is ought to pass as amended, so that would have to be defeated before we go for another motion.
Okay.
Representative Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I just want to add that this is a bill that went through its first policy committee, was amended to be the study committee, and then it kind of wiped away the fiscal impact. But due to the process of the House, it still came to House Finance and Division 1 for a second review. Even though it did not have a fiscal impact, it passed the first policy committee, I believe unanimously. It was on the consent calendar. We adopted it on a voice vote. So just a little bit more of the history of the bill here. I'll be voting yes on ought to pass as amended, as there's no fiscal impact. There's really no purview for finance here. We're just moving this along the process the House desires. Thank you.
Representative Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I intend to vote in favor of the division recommendation. I'm sure they looked at this and they put together good amendments, and I support their work.
Representative Grassi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. From what I understand, this comes to us from last year, or last session, when we had the bill, which was affectionately known as a catch and release. Most of our communities, particularly if you live in the cities, you get a lot of responses from your police departments saying that people are brought in, bail commissioners are incapable of handling it, and they're released right back out on the streets to commit another crime. And so there was a lot of people who had problems with that situation, particularly with indigent people. That we don't want to lock them up, but we also want to be able to deal with the issue. And that this was a compromise that was brought forward to, instead of bail commissioners, let's have magistrates. Maybe we can get this thing through the process a little quicker. You have people who are more knowledgeable of the situations on when you can release somebody without collecting a bail, particularly somebody who's indigent, or whether you should hold those people. What happened is that the bill wasn't what everybody expected it to be, probably. So they wanted to, since I wasn't here the first couple months when this was held in the policy committee, that they wanted to take a look at and study this. I think it's looking for a solution to a problem which does exist. People don't want to hold indigent people in prisons, and yet we need to do something. We just can't keep doing the so-called catch and release, because our constituents are upset about things like that. So I don't look at this as that there's much bipartisan opposition. I think we all agree that we need to find a solution. And this is what we want to do is now study it to look for that solution. So I'll be voting yes on this.
Thank you. Representative Hewitt.
And in doing a little more reading here, this is an amendment to House Bill 576.
That's just attached because of convenience for passing them all out. So they wouldn't have to pass out two bills at a time. They stapled them together. 576 we're coming to later.
Oh, okay.
That's the last one on the docket.
Okay,
Just a convenience for passing them out, so we'd have, and also it got printed on the other side as well, so that's
a
why
little,
it's
a little
attached.
economy of
Economy of
operations here.
paper.
But the amendment changes the bill, whatever it was, that evaluates whether bail commissioners should be replaced or supplemented by court magistrates. Well, I'm not going to vote for it because I really don't know where it's going, and I don't vote for stuff where I don't know where it's going.
Further discussion from the committee? Seeing none, the motion is ought to pass as amended. The clerk will call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
No.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Representative Hole.
No.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrose.
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt.
No.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Chelerski.
Yes.
Representative Hicken Phillips.
Yes.
Representative Stringham.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 21-3 in the affirmative.
Motion passes, and we'll send this forward.
Consent, maybe?
Not on consent. It's got more than one negative vote. Representative Leishman is recognized on House Bill 74.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is relative to an employee's unused earned time. I'd like to recognize Representative Cambrils to speak to the motion of ITL.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill, basically what it would do is mandate employers to pay the employees for unused vacation time when they either retire, get laid off, or leave the job. Makes sense. It's common sense. However, the Division One committee voted 5-3 to ITL because what we found was this is not a widespread issue. It's just common good business policy for companies to pay their employees for their vacation time. During testimony, yes, there were a few very egregious cases that were brought forth, but they were few and far between. And there is also a process by which the employees can go and challenge not being paid anyway. So we just felt that we didn't need additional legislation on employers. That's a contract between the employee and the employer, and they know what they're doing when they get together and they take a job. And again, shame on any employer that doesn't pay their employees for their vacation time. But again, in this economy, they would do well to make sure that they treat the employees well and that they would not have this bad policy of not paying them for vacation time. So with that, I would like to make a motion to ITL.
Is there a second? Second by Representative Griffin. Representative Grassi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I, a lot of what he said, representative said, was right. This something doesn't necessarily happen a lot, and it's also, this bill only deals with businesses that are over 15 employees, so it doesn't affect some really small employers, and that it's bad that employers don't pay when employers don't pay their employees, and it puts the onus on the back of the employee to collect any time that they need. And sometimes when you're laid off or let go abruptly in your job, for whatever reason it may be, many times no fault of your own, you're then required to go and figure out how you're supposed to complain about this. And a lot of times you're just too busy looking for another job. I personally went through this. When COVID hit, they came into our office, this was in March, came into our office and said, we want everybody to show up at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I showed up at 10 o'clock that morning, and they showed, because I had the night shift. And they said, oh, by the way, we're shutting down at midnight. And I said, do we have medical benefits? They said, your medical benefits end at midnight. And then they said, we'll have your checks for you, tomorrow. Here are your checks will be available to you. Our vacation time, I'd been there for 10 years. Our vacation time accrued on January 1st. Those people who took their vacations between January 1st and March got their vacation time and their sick time. Those of us who did not take our vacation time, me being one of them, because I usually take it in August, lost my vacation time. They did not pay it. It only happens a few times, and you'd say that, particularly in today's employment, people would want to make sure they pay their employees. Well, when you're letting somebody go, you don't care if they like you or not. When you're shutting down, you don't care if they like you or not. If it's only a few cases, this shouldn't be a problem. It should be 0 cases. I'm going to ask to defeat the motion of ITL, and so we can get this ought to pass and get it out there, because those people who are let go, they told me, they said, oh, by the way, you can go on COBRA, but when you're unemployed, COBRA doesn't make sense either. My vacation pay may have made a difference at that point. And I would encourage you to vote no on this motion, and so that we can get ought to pass and get this to the floor so that we can treat all employees favorably.
Representative Propavici Muller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to point out that while the intent of the bill is to right a wrong, every bill that we pass has the potential for unintended consequences. And one of the very predictable unintended consequences is a very popular practice in the biotech sector, where I now have 2 family members employed in, up from 1. And that's called unlimited vacation time. And what they mean by unlimited vacation time is that you get as much vacation as you can get approved by your supervisor, but you also don't have any accrual of vacation time because it's not a limited amount of vacation time, and therefore there is nothing to accrue for because you have unlimited vacation. Guess what happens when you get let go? There is no vacation time to be paid off. I would rather not give employees incentives to stop offering regular vacation time that's accrued and it gets paid to most people when they leave. And frankly, when an employee goes bankrupt, they can have any obligations they want. There is no blood you can get out of a stone. When they are insoluble, they are insoluble. I will vote to ITL this because of concerns over the unintended consequences. Thank you.
Representative Griffin.
I recognize all the comments that have been made, but if you read the bill, you'll find that there's a lot of bookkeeping requirements placed on companies. And I think with the few instances, unfortunately, Representative Grassley was a victim of it, but there aren't that many incidences statewide. We found very few. And I think the onerous provisions of all the bookkeeping provisions for this outweigh those isolated instances.
Representative Aber.
Just to comment on the financial aspects of this, there is a fiscal note on here that says 4.5 million, but that would affect the budget if every single state employee quit at the same time. And so we understood from the prime sponsor that during testimony in the hearing, Commissioner Arlinghouse actually said that the financial hit of this would be absolutely de minimis. And we did hear that there are very few related claims. So if you're looking at it from a budgetary standpoint, there was a de minimis, if any, effect. Thank you.
Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll. The motion is ITL on House Bill 74.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrils.
Yes.
Representative Popovich Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
No.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
No.
Representative Grassi.
No.
Representative Hewitt.
No.
Representative Heath.
No.
Representative Murray.
No.
Representative Ebel.
No.
Representative Chalorsky.
No.
Representative Hicken Phillips.
No.
Representative Stringham.
No.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 13 to 11 in favor of the motion.
The motion is ITL, and this one can go on. No, it does, still won't go on consent.
May I ask a question, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Is there a blurb author for 46 FN and now for 74 FN, both for and against?
I'll write the one for 46, since I made the motion.
Representative Cambrils for 74.
Yes, I had written one for the division. Would that suffice to present the same one?
Yes.
Thank you.
And are there any minority reports?
There will be, for sure.
Okay,
Just don't
Representative
know who's
Grassi on House Bill 74. Is there one on 46? Representative Wallner?
I don't believe there'll be one on 46.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to House Bill 212, 212, Representative Leishman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is appropriating funding and for investigations and testing and monitoring relative to PFAS. This came to us with an appropriation request of $2 million and changing the PFAS loan fund to PFAS response fund. The division is looking to retain it and has put it in House Bill 2.
Okay, and retain does not require a report. Further discussion on the motion to retain. So it's Representative Leishman moves to retain. Do we have a second?
Second.
Representative Abram.
Mr. Chair.
Representative McGuire.
So we do expect to put something of this in House Bill 2, but I don't believe it's necessarily the entire funding that the bill itself has.
Yeah, that's usually understood on when we retain a bill. We'll put in what we can when we come to that portion of the budget. Further discussion on the motion to retain. Representative Abel.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to clarify, there actually will be no money appropriated with this. What's happening is that we decided to make the language changes that were in the bill, but to allow DES to use a certain portion of the money, which it otherwise wouldn't have been able to, by expanding the language, and it says that they can use 10% of the appropriation for investigation and the other things provided in the bill. So just to be clear, it spends no money.
Thank you. Further discussion on retain for House Bill 212. Seeing none, you ready for the question? The clerk will call the roll on the motion to retain House Bill 212. Vote on this or skip you on?
No, I'm okay if you would review them. I'm gonna say yes. Okay.
Clerk will call the roll to retain on House Bill 212.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Yes. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrils.
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt.
Yes.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Chelerski.
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips.
Yes.
Representative Stringham.
Yes.
Representative Weiler. Mr. Chairman, the vote is 25-0 in favor to retain.
Thank you. And the only thing that needs to go on the calendar is the list of bills we retain. Moving on to House Bill 230, Representative Leishman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is directing the Department of Agriculture, Markets, and Foods to employ an electronic data processing system. The division supports this and is retaining it and putting this in House Bill 2. And the numbers specifically in the bill, of course, could change because we have not made a final decision, but we're asking to put this in House Bill 2.
Representative Leishman moves to retain. Is there a second? Representative, okay, which one? I guess it's Representative Abel's turn. Abel.
Ebel?
Ebel. I'm sorry.
That was to retain.
Okay, the clerk will call the roll on the motion to retain House Bill 230.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrils.
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt.
Yes.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Chelerski.
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips.
Yes.
Representative Stringham.
Yes.
And Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 25-0 in favor to retain.
Thank you. Move on to House Bill 234, Representative Leishman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is relative to renewable energy credits. One of the few bills that you'll see from us without recommendation. I'd call on Representative Ebel.
Okay, well, I move ought to pass on HB 234.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, motion and a second to, ought to pass on House Bill 234. Further discussion.
Yes, so this is one of those bills that came to finance to look at the financial effect, and there is absolutely no discernible financial effect to the budget. It really is more of, I would say, a policy issue regarding the use of renewable energy credits and whether they can be swept by utility companies instead of, I have to say this right, I'm not an STE person, that rec sweeping has decimated the New Hampshire rec market and significantly decreased alternative compliance payments, the only source of funding for the Renewable Fund, which is our state's sole mechanism for investing in the clean energy transition. Ending rec sweeping might arguably increase electricity bills by pennies on the average monthly bill, but renewable energy investments pay off in lower demand for fossil fuel, lower peak demand, improved air quality, more jobs, and increased in-state economic activity. So I would urge the committee to pass this bill in favor of the House vote and in light of the fact that it has no effect on our budget.
Further discussion. Representative McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I agree that this is not really a finance bill, and so probably we should just simply vote on it as we did in the House floor. But I'm opposed to this particular policy because it basically would redirect roughly $3 million a year from ratepayers into this particular fund, and that's the main purpose of the bill. But our electric rates are extremely high at the moment, and ratepayers need all the help they can get, I guess.
Further discussion. Representative Cambrils.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I also agree with Representative Ebel that this is probably, this is a policy issue. Having been on science and technology, I'm very familiar with the issue, and I can tell you that from a financial standpoint, it does affect the ratepayers in a negative way. So I would vote to not pass this bill. I would vote to ITL it.
Representative Popovici Mulder.
One financial aspect of this is that it will make electricity more expensive for everybody, including the government. So it does have an impact on us, even though it's not a huge impact. And we do have an obligation to try to run the government at a, as low cost as possible. So I'm planning to vote to ITL this.
Further discussion from committee members. Representative Abel.
Thank you. Well, I know for people who have worked very hard on this, I would be remiss if I didn't say that by investing in renewable energy, you do ultimately lower electricity costs for all. So that is a reason to pass it.
Further discussion. Representative Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Having installed and designed and installed solar systems for myself and others, the issue is not the amount of solar power. We have a peak energy usage between 4 p.m. and about 8 p.m. every day. And even if we build more solar, we still have to supplement all of that with additional, more trustworthy sources of energy, whether that's natural gas, oil, coal, hydroelectric, nuclear. So as much as I like the idea, it doesn't solve the real issue. Until we start addressing peak shaving, more solar is not going to help us.
Further discussion from the committee. Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on the motion of ought to pass.
Representative Earth.
No.
Representative McGuire.
No.
Representative Petrie votes no. Representative Emmerich.
No.
Representative Griffin.
No.
Representative Mooney.
No.
Representative Edwards.
No.
Representative Bean. No. Representative Hole.
No.
Representative Sweeney.
No.
Representative Cambrose,
No.
Representative Popovici Muller,
No.
Representative Wallner, Representative Norgren,
Yes.
Representative Leishman,
Yes.
Representative Bucco,
Yes.
Representative Grassi,
Yes.
Representative Hewitt,
Yes.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Murray,
Yes.
Representative Ebel,
Yes.
Representative Tolarski,
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips,
Yes.
Representative Stringham,
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
No.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 13 to 12 in the negative. The motion fails.
Mr. Chairman, I move inexpedient to legislate.
Representative McGuire moves inexpedient to legislate. It was
Second.
seconded by Representative Popovici Muller. Further discussion. Clerk will call the roll on the motion of inexpedient legislate on House Bill 234.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth,
Yes. Yes.
Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Mooney,
Yes.
Representative Edwards,
Yes.
Representative Bean, Representative Hole,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Cambrose,
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller,
Yes.
Representative Wallner, Representative Norgren,
No.
Representative Leishman,
No.
Representative Bucco,
No.
Representative Grassi,
No.
Representative Hewitt,
No.
Representative Heath,
No.
Representative Murray,
No.
Representative Ebel.
Yes. I mean, no. I'm sorry.
All right. Representative Tolarski,
No.
Representative Haken Phillips,
No.
Representative Stringham,
No.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 13 to 12 in the affirmative of ITL.
No, it will not go on consent. Representative Leishman is recognized for House Bill 250.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is relative to accidental death benefits payable to Group 2 members. However, we discovered there may be a possible problem with an amendment we voted on this morning, so we'd like to pull this off for your consideration.
All right, we'll save it for another day.
Mr. Chairman, point of, don't we have a deadline? So we ought to at least retain if nothing else?
I'm trying to remember if this is the 30th. It might be. Do we have anything on this that tells us the due dates? Mr. Hoffman, do you know the due date? All right, we will find out shortly. House Bill 234, will there be both a majority and a minority report? Minority report, Representative Ebel? Thank you. You got it already? Okay, that makes it easy. Right, we can delay it. We do have the March 30th as the deadline on that one. All right, House Bill 270, that's Division 2, Representative, excuse me, I'm belching here. Representative Emmerich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 250 is.
272.
I mean, 272 has a 7-0 vote to retain. And so I move to retain.
Motion to retain, is there a second? Representative Petrie seconds. Further discussion from committee members? Representative Mooney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be sporting a motion to retain with the understanding that this will be added to House Bill 2. I'm the prime sponsor of House Bill 272 as well as a supporter. I'll be voting in favor to retain. Just a little background, this bill came out of the House Education Committee 19-1, came out of the full House 348-11. And came out of Division 2 with a unanimous recommendation to retain and place in House Bill 2. Right now, charter school students per pupil receive at their schools approximately $7,300 per pupil. That amount was set in 2017. This bill, along with the governor's proposal in adequacy aid, would then bring the number up to $9,000 per pupil for charter school students. Certainly an increase that is deserved, and certainly one well worth the wait since it hasn't happened since 2017. So with that, again, I'll be voting to retain with the understanding that it will go in House Bill 2. Thank you.
Further discussion from committee members? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on retain for House Bill 272.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrose.
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt.
Yes.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Orski.
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Stringham.
Yes.
Representative Muller. Muller. Weiler. I get it. I'll get it.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, the vote is 25-0 to retain.
Representative Leishman is recognized for House Bill 276.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is to establish a cyanobacteria mitigation loan grant fund. We're going to really retain this, not put it in House Bill 2. I don't know whether Representative McGuire would like to speak to this or not.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So this bill has a very laudable goal to reduce cyanobacteria in lakes and ponds, but the funding mechanism in the bill was extremely problematic. It proposed that we borrow $25 million and then use it to make loans and grants in a fairly undirected way. You know, it had very broad rulemaking authority, et cetera. So we need to retain this to really get the funding mechanism right. Thank you.
Was there a second on
I'll
that
second
motion?
that.
Representative Cambrose. Further discussion from committee members on House Bill 276. Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on the motion to retain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrose.
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi,
Yes.
Representative Hewitt,
Yes.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Murray,
Yes.
Representative Ebel,
Yes.
Representative Chalorsky,
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips,
Yes.
Representative Stringham,
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 25-0 to retain.
Moving on to House Bill 300, Representative Leishman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is to prohibiting the disposal of certain food waste. Actually establishes a new position called the Waste Management Specialist 3. And I know Representative Ebel would love to speak to this further.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This bill comes to us with a 20-0 recommendation of ought to pass from Environment of Agriculture. It passed in the House on a voice vote. It also comes to us with a unanimous recommendation to retain for HB 2 from our division. It's really the culmination of a lot of work, starting with the creation of a new solid waste management plan. It was recommended, and part of the solid waste management plan is that we really have to start to put less in our landfills to preserve the landfill space for ourselves and for things that you can't do other with. 25% of all that goes into landfills in terms of weight is food waste. So this would prohibit the disposal of food scraps by generators of 1 ton or more of food scraps a week. And the diversion requirement would only apply if there was a place for these food scraps to go within 20 miles. And it also asks that the way you divert the food scraps is first by feeding humans, second by animals, and thirdly by composting or anaerobic digestion. This bill had absolutely no opposition in the division or in committee. It was supported by Waste Management, which is a landfill operator. It was also supported by the food banks folks because they're really excited at the prospect of more food to be donated. And I would appreciate a vote to retain it for the budget.
Further discussion from committee members on the motion to retain.
Need a second?
And who seconded the retain? Representative Sweeney. Clerk will call the roll on the motion to retain on House Bill 300.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth,
Yes.
Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Mooney,
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean, Representative Hole,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Cambrose,
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller,
Yes.
Representative Wallner, Representative Norgren,
Yes.
Representative Leishman,
Yes.
Representative Bucco,
Yes.
Representative Grassi,
Yes.
Representative Hewitt,
Yes.
Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Murray,
Yes.
Representative Ebel,
Yes.
Representative Chalorsky,
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips,
Yes.
Representative Stringham,
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 25-0 to retain House Bill 300.
Thank you. Moving on to House Bill 330. I will make the motion of ought to pass and speak to the, and a second from Representative McGuire. I was involved with the reserves for many years and also the National Guard a bit. And it's a very competitive thing, especially in a small state like ours. They could shop around to see what will they get from Massachusetts or Maine or some other state. We need to keep the troops up in case of emergencies in the state. Obviously, some of them have now been called to be prison guards because of the shortage there. And National Guard people are usually called up in emergencies for covering up for plowing and whatever else needs to be done and floods and so on. So it's important. So this bill takes money. It's not general funds. It comes from fines that are in a military court and puts them in a fund. Presently, the enlistment incentive is $500. This doubles it to $1,000, and they think it's going to cost about $50,000 a year, but it's covered by the fines and fees, so it's not a problem for us with the general fund. So I think it's needed. I think it's necessary, and I think we got a good vote on it. I move on to pass, and McGuire seconds it. Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on ought to pass on House Bill 330.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Don't love me anymore.
I don't like you no more. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Yes. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrels.
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt.
Yes.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Telersky.
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips.
Yes.
Representative Stringham.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion passes 25-0 for auto pass.
Thank you. Turning the page over, we'll see House Bill 337 FN, and Representative Leishman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This will assure, hopefully, that the Office of Professional Licensure and Certification will provide notice of public meetings and allow for public comment. The vote was 9-0. Ought to pass. Representative McGuire moves.
Yes, I move ought to pass.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Griffin.
May I speak, Mr. Chairman?
Speak.
Yes. So the fiscal note for this says up to $100,000 a year, but we think this will be next to zero. And it also shows that it could be general funds, but the Office of Professional Licensure is moving off budget, sort of. They're going to be funded strictly from their fees through a dedicated fund, and so this will not be general funds.
Further discussion from committee members? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll. Ought to pass on House Bill 337.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrels.
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt.
Yes.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Telersky.
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips.
Yes.
Representative Stringham.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 25-0 in favor of auto pass.
Thank you. Representative Leishman is recognized for House Bill 347.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is establishing a Superior Court land use review docket. Representative McGuire will move.
I move retain, and we're going to put this in House Bill 2.
Second is Representative Sweeney. Further discussion on House Bill 347.
Mr. Chairman.
Representative McGuire.
Thank you. So this is an extra judge, and the judge is going to be tasked with land use cases. All land use cases will go to this particular new Superior Court judge. The judiciary's own budget already had the extra judge. This is the 22nd Superior Court judge. But this bill has all the language in it that makes the judge work on land use cases, and so that will be going into House Bill 2.
Further discussion from committee members. Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on retain for House Bill 347.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Yes. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrose.
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt.
Yes.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Telersky.
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips.
Yes.
Representative Stringham.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 25-0 to retain.
Thank you. Moving on to House Bill 379.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is requiring notice for anyone being evicted and what their legal recourse could be through council. And I would recognize Representative Weiler.
This bill is simple and requires an attorney to be appointed or for actions against tenants. Right to counsel for indigent attendants. Am I reading the wrong bill?
No, you're all set. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. This is just a simple notification requirement, so if somebody receives an eviction notice, they are given their rights, so to speak, if they want to seek counsel to help them with their eviction.
Mr. Chairman, if you'd like me to help you out, I could move on to pass on this.
And I'll
Thank you.
second, and I'll second
I probably
Representative
think you
McGuire.
probably have the blurb written already, so,
I could use the old one. I think it'd be fine.
all right. So thank you. Representative McGuire moves. Weiler seconds. Ought to pass on House Bill 379. Further discussion from committee members. Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll. The motion is ought to pass on House Bill 379.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrose.
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
You forgot Representative.
That's
Heath.
okay. I skip around.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Telersky.
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips.
Yes.
Representative Stringham.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes, did anybody not get called?
I made sure that, Mr.
So
Chairman, and the
my,
vote.
my count comes out at 24 instead of 25.
No,
so-
it's 25. I guarantee it.
All right, I missed one.
Very good. Mr.
Motion is not to pass. Thank you for Representative McGuire for writing the report. And I guess this has money in it, or does it not? No money? All right, this can go on consent.
Is this consent? Yeah, okay, very good. No minority report. Sign my name, we're done.
Could 337 go on consent?
What was the question?
337, could that go on consent?
I think that had a little money in it, didn't it? Well, supposedly if it has money in it, we shouldn't put it on consent, so we'll be on a regular calendar.
Okay.
We'll move on to House Bill 462. Representative Leishman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is making an appropriation to the Solid Waste Management Fund and targeting food waste reduction and diversion. I will ask Representative Ebel to move this, and I know she wishes to speak to this as well.
Thank you very much. We're moving to retain this bill and put it into HB2. This is another bill that comes from the E&A committee with a 20-zip vote in favor of passing. It voted on it. It passed on a voice vote. It was the motion to retain was 7-0 within the division. This had absolutely no opposition. It was supported by quite a few folks, in particular the New Hampshire Municipal Association, among others. This bill expands the sources from which the fund can be financed to include more than EPA grants, which it had been limited to before, I think through oversight, and it also adds language to target the use of the fund for food waste diversion until 2027. 50% of it could be targeted for food waste diversion. I already explained why food waste diversion is really important in the context of our landfills. This also will help us begin to make more progress in keeping things out of our landfills. And, you know, I would just say there's increasing concern about PFAS, and not that this is a direct line to PFAS reduction, but let's face it, the less waste we put in our landfills, where so much waste has PFAS, PFAS goes in the landfill leachate, which goes to our wastewater treatment plants. So I think this is a win-win across the board, and it has substantial true bipartisan support as far as co-sponsorship. So I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on retain on House Bill 462.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had to take a break. Very good. Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrose.
Yes.
Representative Pupavici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt.
Yes.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Tolerski.
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips.
Yes.
Representative Stringham.
Yep.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 25-0 in the affirmative to retain.
Thank you. Moving on to House Bill 504. Representative Leishman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is relative to the Adult Parole Board and making an appropriation thereof for. And it's moved by Representative Hewitt. I'd ask Representative Hewitt to speak to his motion once he has a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm at a disadvantage because I didn't bring my notes with me this afternoon. The adult parole board deals with everybody who gets imprisoned at the New Hampshire State Prison, and when it comes time for their parole, either based on the amount of time they've spent or some other reason like a court order, they have to appear before the adult parole board. And as my memory serves me, the parole board sits with 5 members, and what they do is they hear whatever information that the prison system and the people who deal with the prisoners after they're released until their whole sentence has expired. The money, it's mostly a money bill to increase the staff of the board, because they only have two actives inside the board. They do the paperwork that gets separated amongst all the participants, and then every month they have a total of two sessions of the parole board. It's a little bit odd because you don't think of the parole board as being much of anything as far as spending money is concerned. But it's surprising when you find out the number of people who are sentenced to the state prison is rather substantial. And they have, there are over 100 people that come before the parole board during the course of a season. And they meet twice a month. And the whole thrust of the bill is to spend money in terms, for example, it spends $10,000 per year. It's an annual stipend, and they want to increase it from 20. Excuse me, they pay $20,000. They want to increase it by $10,000 to $30,000. And it also allows former parole board members to sit in hearings when a full panel of 3 cannot be attained. That's interesting because not many people want to serve on the parole board, and with all of the cases they have, which involve a lot of information that has to be gathered by the small staff, not many people want to serve if they're not a member, and mostly the only people who can serve, other than the actual board members, are former board members, and most of them don't have a really glowing history or glowing sense of what went on in the proceedings, and also it's pretty nasty stuff. So the amount of money that was being asked for is $30,000 to increase the size of the board and increase to increase the stipend for the vice chair of $20,000 to $20,000, and former members are paid $300 a pop for the times that they sit. The parole board sits twice a month, and the hearings involve quite a bit of time, and they're kind of contentious at times, I imagine. So this is a simple bill to just beef up the adult parole board so that they don't have a lot of delays. Because if you don't have people to serve on the board, or you don't have enough people to serve on the board, parole hearings get delayed, and that isn't a very good feeling particularly for the participants, and it makes the parole board members concerned about the adequacy of the job that they're doing. So the committee voted 7-2 to the subcommittee voted 7-2 to pass House Bill 504 fiscal note.
Thank you. Representative Hewitt moves, Representative Wallner seconds. Further comments from the committee? Representative Wallner.
Thank you. So the bill really actually does two things. And I think Judge Hewitt, Representative Hewitt, outlined them. But the first part of the bill allows the chair of the parole board to use people who had previously served on the parole board to sit in when he could not find three of the regular members to sit on a hearing. This has been a problem, and it really backs them up when they have to delay the hearings because they can't get three members. So this just allows him to use previous members to be basically substitutes. And he asked for 5 days a year that he could use someone as a substitute, and that they would be paid at $300 a day. The second part of the bill actually talks about the stipend of the members. The chair of the parole board is actually a state employee, and there's no increase in the stipend for the chair. There are 3 members who are regular members. They're now paid $10,000 a year. This would raise them another 10 to 20,000, and the vice chair is now paid 20,000. I'm sorry, the vice chair would raise to 30,000. Now I know that sounds like big raises, but these are well qualified people and difficult to find. Often they're lawyers. They're often people who have actually worked in the prison system and have retired. They're very difficult to find, and this work is not easy. It takes many, many, many hours to prepare for a parole hearing. They also do revocations, so if someone is losing their parole, they'll also do those. So this is really difficult work, and our stipends have been low, and this will hopefully increase the pool of people who would be willing to serve on the parole board. And I think as citizens, if we stop and think about this, this is a really important duty they have for safety in our communities. Putting people out on parole is serious business. So I hope that you'll support the bill.
Representative McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do support the bill. I just want to correct the numbers.
I'm sorry.
No problem. It's just the parole board has 5 members. The chair is a full-time state employee. The other 4 are currently paid $20,000 each. This bill would raise the vice chair to $40,000 and the other 3 members to $30,000. But Representative Wallner is exactly correct that these are very experienced people, retired judges, attorneys. I think in one case we have like a former commissioner of corrections from another state, this kind of thing. So this is really not, they're working, I think, close to full time or quite significant amount of time and not getting paid very much. So.
Further discussion from the committee? Representative Cambrils.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, I was one of the ones in division that voted against this. And thank you, Representative Wallner, for making it clear to the committee exactly what the bill did. Have no issue with the first part for the temporary people getting the money. However, I didn't see the justification. I don't agree with Representative McGuire. Looking at the hours that these people put in, I did not see a justification for giving a 50% raise and a 100% raise for the chair, given their track record. It's not only that they haven't put in as much time as you would think they would be, but the track record of the parole board is not exactly stellar. And I don't know anybody else in the state or in any occupation that gets 50 or 100% raises. So on principle, I voted against it. Again, I'm not against it. I know the parole board does, it's a very important job, and it's a job that has a lot of stress, I'm sure. But I just couldn't justify that kind of a percentage raise for these positions. And they are, as you said, retired lawyers and judges. Boo-hoo, I'm not making a lot of money. I'm sure they're already rich, so.
Representative Edwards.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. I estimate I make about 3 cents an hour. And I'm just curious, has anyone done the math to sort of figure out how many what the hourly rate turns out to be for, say, the vice chair, who will be raised to 40,000?
So, thank you, May I speak? Yeah. All right.
Representative McGuire.
Not specifically, but first of all, if I remember correctly, they do meet weekly, and on Tuesday they do parole hearings for roughly 17 inmates, and then on Thursdays they do revocation hearings, which are for people who violate their parole, whether they should be remanded back into prison. So typically that would be about half that number, so say 8. So they get very thick packets of paper that they have to prepare for those, so the Tuesdays and Thursdays are sort of all day, but there's I don't know, 40 pages or something worth of paper on each individual. So there's a lot of prep work as well. So it's a lot of work.
Representative Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I think I'm going to vote against this, so that if it passes, they're going to be very grateful to all of you, and I'm going to hope that they never see my packet. So thank you.
Representative Hall, and then I think Representative Hewitt still has the light on. I'll come to you second. Representative Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Additional clarification from Representative McGuire on how often they meet is helpful, but I have to admit I have some concerns in line 16 through 20 relative to the base pay going from $20,000 to $30,000 and the vice chairman from 20 to 40. If I recall, our executive counselors who meet twice a month and have something on the order of 10,000 pages to read between those hearings on contracts get $17,000 or so. And granted, those are elected positions, not employee positions. Is there any way to divide this? Because I'm really in favor of Section 1 and not in terms of Section 2.
The bill as it came to us, normally we deal with the whole bill in its entirety. The speaker may decide to divide it when it comes to the floor. But normally in a committee, we don't make such decisions.
Thank you.
Representative Hewitt.
Relative to the amount of money being paid, these are not laborers. These are all people. They're mostly professional people, and they work a lot of hours. But we have to bear in mind that we are dealing with people who are performing a very difficult task, and on the issue of they're not doing a very good job because not everybody is successful. You're talking with people who have spent time in the state prison, and they didn't spend time in the state prison for going through a red light. So, you know, recidivism is a subject that is dealt with all the time and it's argued about. But these people who serve on the board are professionals, and they understand the success rate is not 100%, and they have a hard time hiring parole board members when there's a vacancy. So I don't see any reason why the increase at this time, which hasn't happened in quite a few years, shouldn't be made. They earn every penny of every case that they sit on.
Representative Cambrils and then Representative Pompavici Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just reiterate, I keep hearing they work a lot of hours, they work a lot of hours. But I'm an engineer, and when I heard the testimony, they meet on Tuesday, they meet on Thursday. I didn't see a full-time job there anywhere, and I didn't see a lot of, it was a part-time thing as far as I was concerned. So if you're gonna keep throwing out that they work a lot of hours, I'd like somebody to quantify that.
Representative Pompavici Mueller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now, I'm not an expert in the legal system, but I used to be a network administrator. And this has something to do in common with, being on the parole board, which is that nobody ever tells you thank you when you get it right. But boy, when you may get it wrong, you will hear from people. And I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying they don't have, but it's a darn hard job. And you only hear about it when you do it, when something goes wrong. So it's just a tough job, and I'm not really that qualified to comment on whether the compensation is appropriate or not. I'll probably follow the committee recommendation, but I just want to say that it's one of those where it's really hard to do it, and frankly, the fact that we are having a hard time getting people to serve is a hint that they are not that overpaid, or you'd have a long line of people waiting for it. So.
Further discussion from committee members? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on ought to pass on House Bill 504.
Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie's undecided. Yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
No.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
No.
Representative Bean. Representative Hole.
No.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambrils.
No.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt. Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Tulersky.
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips.
Yes.
Representative Stringham.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 20 to 5 in favor of ought to pass. HB 504.
Is there going to be any minority report?
Maybe.
If you have one, have it done within the hour.
Okay.
So that's a maybe. That sounds like a yes.
The motion, HB 504 is adopted, ought to pass 20 to 5. Moving on to House Bill 519, Representative Leishman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is to establish a Chief Information Security Officer for the Department of Information Technology. And I'd like to recognize Representative McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move ought to pass.
Motion of ought to pass on 519, seconded by Representative Ebel.
So this is a very simple bill that just changes some titles in the law for some high-ranking employees in the information technology department. These employees are already hired; they're already in this position. It's just a matter of giving them an official title in the law. So this could easily be on consent.
Further discussion from the committee? Seeing none, the motion is ought to pass on House Bill 519.
Representative Erf,
Yes.
Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yeah.
Representative Mooney,
Yes.
Representative Edwards,
Yes, to support the sponsor.
Representative Bean, Representative Hole,
Yes.
Representative Sweeney,
Yes.
Representative Cambrose,
Yes.
Representative Popovich Muller,
Yes.
Representative Wallner, Representative Norgren,
Yes.
Representative Leishman,
Yes.
Representative Bucco,
Yes.
Representative Grassi,
Yes.
Representative Hewitt, Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Murray,
Yes.
Representative Ebel,
Yes.
Representative Tulersky,
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips,
Yes.
Representative Stringham,
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 25-0 and ought to pass on 519.
Is there any money in this bill that can go on consent?
Screw up the paperwork.
Moving on to House Bill 534, recognize Representative Leishman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next one deals with water assistance for natural disasters. And I'd like to recognize Representative McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move inexpedient to legislate.
Is there a second? Representative Griffin.
So this bill has a sort of laudable purpose, but it has two major flaws in my mind. So what it does is it allocates $5 million and puts it into a special fund that would be used for to assist low-income homeowners if their drinking water supply was interrupted by a natural disaster. So apparently this has happened in the past via the drought, which hopefully is over at this point. And DES used money, more general drinking fund money, drinking water money to implement something like this particular program, but this creates something new, creates a new fund, and so on. So the two problems are, one is it's creating a bucket of money that's very special purpose, right? It has to be for low income, for drinking water, created where the problem was created by a natural disaster. But if you think about it, you generally don't want disaster money to be bucketed in that way. You would rather have a very large pool of money to deal with natural disasters because you don't know ahead of time what kind of a disaster it's going to be and what it's going to affect. So for example, if you had a large fire or something, you couldn't use the money in this fund for that because this fund would be very targeted. And so rather than having this money in this special fund, that's sort of what the rainy day fund is for, right? We would, if we don't spend the money this way, and we don't spend it in any other way, it would end up in the rainy day fund. The rainy day fund is a general purpose fund for disasters and other special circumstances, right? So it doesn't really make sense to have, try to think of all possible kinds of disastrous circumstances and have a special pot of money for each one. That's the main problem. There's also a problem in that, in my mind, this bill violates House Rule 45D, which says that we should not be issuing broad rulemaking authority to departments. We shouldn't have bills with broad rulemaking authority. This bill does not specify the meaning of low income, so what income level would count, the amount of any given award, what limits there might be on the award. This doesn't specify exactly what's meant by a disaster, how the money would be used, et cetera. So this just basically, it also gives DES the ability to use the money in the fund for their expenses, but it doesn't say, limited to 5% or something like that, right? So there's no limits on the amount of money that could be used for their expenses. So in general, this is a classic broad rulemaking authority bill, and again, that's against House rules in my reading. So for all those reasons, I think this should be inexpedient to legislate. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Further discussion on the bill? Seeing none. Representative Hacken Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to mention that you'll see at the top of the co-sponsor list that I am one of the co-sponsors for this bill. And, something that hasn't been discussed yet at this point, although it was discussed in the original policy committee, which passed, or I'm sorry, I think it was tied and it came to the floor and passed, is that, we have a housing affordability and housing crisis on our hands here in the state of New Hampshire. And given the real effects of the continuing drought in our state, especially in the southern tier, we know that there are several low-income families who are really struggling with this issue, and that any step that we can take, any tool we can put in our toolbox to assist those folks to stay in their homes where they are, to be able to have drinking water reinstated or repaired, is a huge step in the right direction for our communities and our state. So I have a hard time, although I do understand the important arguments Representative McGuire outlined today, that $5 million to assist these really needy folks is an important step in the right direction. For that reason, I believe that I'm going to have to say no to the vote of ITL and support the primary sponsor as well as my co-sponsors for the initial idea, and hope that if retention is a better outcome from this committee, I think that it's worthy of discussion for those exact reasons. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the representative just brought up retentions. I'm curious if there was a discussion in the division on why not just retain it and work on it. And if we go ahead and pass it ITL, I wonder if on the House floor, if a tabling motion might not be better so that the representative can work on it and maybe reintroduce it in January.
Yes. Well, thank you for that suggestion. I guess it just seemed like it needed too much work for us to retain it and do it in our committee or in division, especially all the definitions and the rulemaking and that sort of stuff. But yes, I would support a tabling motion on the floor if we wanted to go that way.
As a follow-up to that comment, Mr. Chair, thank you. I know that there is a special committee assigned to this body to discuss this exact issue that I raised about the housing affordability and housing crisis issue. And my instinct is to say, of course, that a retention of this bill to work on some of the concerns Representative McGuire just raised would be an important tool in their toolbox to address the issue. If we kill it, am I correct that if we vote to ITL today, am I correct that this would be a forbidden topic for that special committee to even consider?
If ITL prevails, the subject matter could still be discussed, but not the specifics of the bill if ITL prevailed. But if it went to tabling, they could still do it. Representative Sweeney.
Thank you. In the division conversation on this bill, I did mention I voted for the ITL, and I'll vote for ITL again today. I did mention my intention to reach out. I've had some initial conversations with some stakeholders and interested parties on this topic. I opened myself up, volunteered to help work on the bill. So I'll vote ITL today. I'll talk to the guy that controls the bandana to green it on the table motion in the chamber, because I think that'd be a good move.
Further discussion from committee members? Seeing none. The motion is inexpedient to legislate on House Bill 534. The clerk will call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Earth.
Yes.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Bean. Yes. Representative Hole.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambros.
Yes.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Wallner. Representative Norgren.
No.
Representative Leishman.
No.
Representative Bucco.
No.
Representative Grassi.
No.
Representative Hewitt.
No.
Representative Heath.
No.
Representative Murray.
No.
Representative Ebel.
No.
Representative Telersky.
No.
Representative Haken Phillips.
No.
Representative Stringham.
Nope.
And Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 13 to 12 in favor of ITL.
Will there be a minority report?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll get that to you as soon as I can.
Okay. Representative Hacken Phillips will write a minority report. Now, we're moving on to House Bill 576 and that confusing amendment you had before with the front of it was House Bill 446. Turn the page and you are looking at the amendment for the bill under discussion presently. Representative Leishman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And you're right about the confusion. And I have to thank Representative Sweeney for his efforts on this. This is, again, relative to the admission of commercial property assessed clean energy, CPACE, and I'd like to recognize Representative Sweeney.
Thank you very much, Representative and Mr. Chairman. So this amendment seeks to fix the bill. And to give background on it, this bill passed out of the Science, Technology, and Energy Committee 15-5 with bipartisan support for the CPACE program. It originally had a real fiscal note, but in the amended process in the first committee, policy committee, the fiscal impact to the state was severely limited or wiped out. It's enabling legislation now for municipalities to adopt a CPAS, which a commercial PACE loan program for clean energy projects that they may pursue. It's really built for municipalities that are populations over 50,000. So it's really 2 municipalities in the state of New Hampshire that could even take advantage of this enabling legislation. The reason for the amendment that I'll move 692H is because when they amended it in the first committee, they essentially made some issues with the banking system in which the CPACE loan was going to have the priority lien on a property above the mortgage or other any developmental loans that the developer, the property owner took out, which is not how we want to. They didn't look at the banking elements of it. And I spoke with the chair of Science and Technology when they had that conversation and they talked about amending the bill. Their internal decision of their committee was to let finance deal with that. So I met with the chairman of Science and Technology, the sponsor of the bill, and the New Hampshire Bankers Association to come up with this amendment to keep the existing policy and the enabling legislation in the underlying bill, but strengthen it to protect New Hampshire banks and lenders so that they wouldn't have that unintended consequence from the original version that, or the original amendment as house of the house. I think I covered that. It was a confusing issue in the committee, but I think this resolved it all. So I would move adoption of Amendment 2023-0692H to House Bill 576.
Is there a second for the amendment? Representative Ebel. Is there a need to do a roll call, or can we accept this on a show of hands? All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? The amendment carries. The motion now is ought to pass as amended. Moved by Representative Sweeney. Representative Abel is the second. Clerk will call the roll on the motion of ought to pass as amended by Amendment 0692. Yes. Got one?
Representative Earth.
Undecided. I'm gonna say no.
Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Petrie is undecided. Boy, you're leaving an alert
Pick
there.
one.
No. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
You may want to go back because it looks like you got some yeses and nos.
Right. Let's do this again. Sorry, it's a long day. Earth is no. McGuire's yes. Petrie is no. Emmerich.
Yes.
That's where we went wrong. Representative Griffin.
Yes.
All right. Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Edwards.
No.
Yeah, screw it up, didn't you? All right. Very good. Representative Bean. Yes. Representative Hole.
No.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Cambros.
No.
Representative Popovici Muller.
Yes.
Representative Walder. Representative Norgren.
Yes.
Representative Leishman.
Yes.
Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Grassi.
Yes.
Representative Hewitt.
Yes.
Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray.
Yes.
Representative Ebel.
Yes.
Representative Tolarski.
Yes.
Representative Haken Phillips.
Yes.
Representative Stringham.
Yes.
Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Representative Weiler, may I redo my vote? I think I voted wrong. I meant to say yes. I said no.
You meant to say yes?
I meant to say yes. I got to looking at your page. I got all confused. No, it's my fault. I meant to say yes, and I said no.
All right, so you're going to be 21 to 4. Let me see, 5. That's 4. All right, Mr. Chairman, it's 21 to 4 in favor of the ought to pass.
Will there be a minority report? The answer appears to be no. And also back to 534, 504, 504. Is there a minority report on that parole board one?
There is. You have a copy already. In your
Very
email.
good. Whole.
Is there a minority report on this one?
There does not appear to be a minority report on 576. Regular calendar. Division chairs, Division 1. You have anything after this?
Yeah, I'd like the division to head back to 212 for a few minutes. That's possible.
Representative Emmerich, Division 2.
Yes, back to 209, please.
Division 3, Representative Edwards.
Yes, sir. Division 3 is in recess awaiting the completion of this hearing and will stay in this room. I think we probably have a couple hours of work at least.
Whoa. All right, so everyone, Division 3 can stay here. Division 1 and 2 go to the appropriate rooms. Thank you all for your attention and your good work.
Take your nameplates.